343 just had a community holiday stream in which they detailed a bunch of the feedback that they've been getting from the community on Halo Infinite. And honestly, it was really refreshing to hear developers admit their faults and mistakes with certain decisions made for the game and even go as far as to apologize for some of those things. We also get details on the upcoming event on Tuesday, which is properly titled Winter Contingency, which of course another callback to Halo Reach. But that's not all. If you guys have watched my previous video, then you know about some of the changes coming with the return of the Tenrai Fracture or event on January 4th. Well, 343 decided to give us even more details on some of the significant changes that they are planning with the return of that event, and that's just scratching the surface of what we'll be talking about in this video. So stay tuned throughout the entirety of it, because this social stream that they did in which they talked about this feedback lasted about 30 minutes. I'm going to condense that down and get you guys all the important information that you need to know. So if you guys like that kind of no BS, get right to the point content, show me by clicking that like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to stay absolutely up to date on all the latest happenings in the world of Halo Infinite. Without further ado, let's get started. 343 has already received a ton of feedback from players on the playlist update that happened a couple of days ago. Players are wanting to see FFA and SWAT, just to name a couple, be a part of the ranked offerings, and 343 says they hear that feedback loud and clear, but as I mentioned in the previous video, in case you guys want to check it out, it'll be linked in the card in the top right hand corner of your screen detailing all the new changes that came with that update. But they said that ranked stuff is going to take a little bit more time to implement as far as playlist offerings than the social ones did. As far as the Winter Contingency event that's going to be starting on December 21st on Tuesday, 343 said to look at it like a advent calendar where you would get a reward every single day. This one's going to be a little bit different than the other kinds of events we're used to. Basically, you're going to log on and get a daily challenge for a cosmetic reward, and when you complete that challenge, you'll get that reward, and it'll be a different one for every single day, and this event is planned to last for 10 days. As far as the changes coming with the return of the Tenrai Fracture or event on January 4th, well, I'm going to let Jerry Hook, who is the head of design at 343, go on ahead and explain what kind of changes you all are going to see when this event returns.
So we learned several things here. So first off, when we talk about muscles, and I'm just going to put this on me, so I didn't do a good enough job of reviewing a bunch of the assets that went out with like marketing. And for Tenrai, what that meant was the marketing team did all the right things, they put all the things together, and they showed basically a samurai. The problem is they showed a mixed samurai, and our goal is always that when you see something for earn in a season, and it's earnable in like an event track for an event pass perspective, you can't earn that gear in the shop. You can't earn that gear in the battle pass. It's dedicated to your events. And so we want to make sure that when we're showing assets from a marketing perspective or communication perspective, players are very clear what's store versus what's free. So one of the things we did is we worked with our team and our business team to work together to say, hey, look, how can we do several things? One, we want the events to be a place where you can earn new content and not care about whether you're going to pay or not. And we want that content to be high quality. That's why we wanted the Fracture. It's completely new armor. That's all earned by the player playing during the event. It's completely new achievable stuff throughout the entire season. None of that should be available in the store. We made that mistake. I'm sorry about that. So what we've done is we pulled back a bunch of new gear so that when Tenrai comes back in January, you're going to see a lot of changes to the event structure that we have. One, you're going to see less swaps and XP, and you're going to see more actual content. Content being, shoulders, coatings, gear pieces. Two, we're going to replace those pieces that were mistakenly put in the store as well as the event pass, and we're going to replace those completely, so they'll only be earnable within the Tenrai event itself.
And as far as what 343's focus will be on once they return from holiday break, which is much deserved, they need some time to spend with families and just recharge and take a break, because game development is not easy. Well, they went into detail on the things that are top of their list when they come back. First thing being balance patches. So of course, multiplayer games need weapon balancing and tuning among other things, so that will be the first kinds of things that they'll be working on, as well as better balance for free players. More specifically for the weekly ultimate rewards. They're pretty underwhelming in their current implementation, so 343 is looking at ways to make that more enticing to go on ahead and make players want to complete that weekly ultimate challenge. They also said that the double XP boost system still needs a lot more work, especially in the UI section. They're looking at ways to improve that, as well as performance-based XP. They did take a step in the right direction with the most recent patch. However, 343 said this is not the end-all be-all for a solution to that issue. They also want to do some UI work, especially when it comes to challenges and indicators for difficulties in challenges. There's supposed to be normal, heroic, legendary, etc. difficulties for challenges, and it's not really coming across as clear as it should be to the player on which challenges are supposed to be deemed more difficult. They're also going to take a look at customization, more specifically the core system, because this is essential with player retention as far as Halo Infinite goes. So definitely going back to the drawing board on that, as well as their ranked models, which I talked about in my previous video as well. They have some plans on changing some of the CSR distribution in ranked, among other things, so we'll just have to wait and see what those kinds of plans are. Stay tuned to the channel. And finally, 343 admitted they'll be taking a look at the store and how that is handled as far as paying real world money for items or cosmetics in Halo Infinite. And I'm going to pass it back to Jerry Hook to explain some of the things that they're thinking about changing with the store. And this is the last time you guys are going to hear from me for the rest of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like and make sure you're subscribed for future Halo news content.
I want to make sure to cover this as well. Like, we want to look at our store. One of the biggest challenges that we knew that we would have, and no matter what we did, we were going to have this, which is changing Halo 20 years of box product models to a free-to-play model is not something that is going to be inherently satisfying for most of our players. We get that. However, we don't think we just have to continue to follow normal tropes of the industry to make that effective. And we think we can do some things better for our players and better for the game experience that helps push that edge a little bit. And so we're just taking a look at that. And that's pretty much across the board. Taking a look at the bundles, where we're seeing value, what feels valuable, what doesn't feel valuable, what experiments can we put in there to see what people like and what people don't like. We need to make sure that we're able to at least, pay for the continuation of the multiplayer game on a regular basis, and that's what these models help us do.